Hello, everybody. It's been a rough couple of days, but it's been incredible as well, but quite restless. And people are wondering what's going on in the world. Everything they read is catastrophic and terrible, and yet Bitcoin price is going up. Yes, we're going to dig into that. And before we do, thank you, Nick M. Shout out to the Spurs fans. I think they won in Europe. I hope Sean Donnelly doesn't bother him. I know it's not his team. Anyway, let's get into the news today. This is called Bondpocalypse. It's a hard word to say, and really it breaks down everything that's going on. So hope everyone's enjoying Bitcoin today. Bitcoin, by the way, it hit $112,000 three times today. Three times. It's only a matter of time. It likes to hit those big levels a couple of times, like tapping glass, as I say. People don't like that analogy, but I've always used it, so who cares? And this is not financial advice, just a guy on the internet. I will be talking a lot about today as well. Price targets and price predictions from different types of data sources. But that doesn't mean you can take those price predictions to the bank. Remember that. And thank you to everyone on Patreon too. First of all, let's get into the fun story of the day. Oh, I forgot to mention, Bitcoin is now a top 5 asset. It just leapfrogged Amazon. I said about a month ago, it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin jumps to number 5, jumping past silver, Google, and Amazon. And it just did that. Bitcoin market cap is about just shy of $2.2 trillion. Now, crypto, you guys are also generous. And we make good things happen with this. So thank you all. So the question is, from Kalshi, how high will Bitcoin get this year? And the answer is 143,000. And that's up 19,000 from last time I shared it. So people, would they be happy with 143K? I'd be happy with 120K, to be honest. And it's crazy. But I decided, you know what? Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's see who else is betting on this market. Polymarket. That 3% believe Bitcoin this year could hit $1 million. Kind of nice. And what was the expected value? I calculated it. I think it was 147,000 from all these numbers. So it's a little bit different to 143,000 here. But what you can do is create a composite score of both 147 and 143. But the 147,000 is based on 4% of people think it'll be 20,000, 15, 50,000, 26%, 70,000. They're already completely wrong. 83%, 120 grand. 120 grand for Bitcoin was my 2023 price target for 2025. 3 years out, I forecasted 120K. Looks like that's in the bag. Nearly 70% believe 130K. 42% believe 150K. And then the higher we go, the thinner the air, 20%, 200K, etc. But that is either way. We're already winning, everybody. Thank you. I see people all over the world. Please share your flags. Hello, Switzerland. Now, yet another chart too. This one is the logarithmic cycle for Bitcoin. And what does this tell us? Well, it tells us a couple of things. Again, take it with a big pinch of salt. By the way, how's my sound? It's a new speaker. It's a new microphone. It's James and the Jamesons. Yeah, I did whiskey once, everybody, for the $100,000 Bitcoin. That was my one and done. I will never drink whiskey again. So never again. People are trying to get me to drink tequila at 120K. No, but I will drink red wine or something. Anyway, let's talk about this. This is the Bitcoin logarithmic cycle. And what that predicts is the cycle top for this cycle is $267,000 in 2025 and 1.6 million in 2030. Who can wait around that long? So 1.6 million in 2030, considering we are so high right now, that's very achievable. Again, that would only be what, a say 5x approximately, 5 or 6x from there. But I don't know, it's all crazy. And this assumption is that only 16 million Bitcoin remain. This is so great because I've been saying for years there will never be more than 15 million Bitcoin. Now many people are parroting my numbers back, except a little bit different. 16 million I will take as well. And this also takes 16 million and the current gold market cap of 22 trillion, which will take the price to 1.6 million. So not only does this math model work from a chart perspective, but it also matches gold parity. That seems credible. Everybody stay healthy. Future's bright. Bitcoin's going up with some violent undulations, of course. Now, and not to be undone, this is from, I always block out when I share people's posts. I block out part of the name so the scammers can't reach out to them, okay? So I hope you don't mind. But Carrot, you know who you are. He had been crunching a whole bunch of numbers with ChatGPT and asked, where will Bitcoin go this cycle? And where will MicroStrategy go this cycle? Well, here we are. Bitcoin to 163,500 and MicroStrategy to $625. By the way, I have no idea why there's aubergines on this little symbolism, but I guess we must have a lot of vegans in the audience. Anyway, 163.5 for Bitcoin in 2025 and 625 for MicroStrategy. Now, comparing those together, because we've got 2025, 163.5 from ChatGPT, 267 from the Logarithmic Cycle. We have this one's 149K from Polymarket and Kalshi 143K. So you add them all up together, you could get to around $182,000, everybody, if we're lucky, 180 or so. But either way, we'll see where it goes. But let's get into the bigger story. This is what I want to talk about today. And everybody's wondering, why is Bitcoin so strong? Well, there's a lot of money flowing into it, but there's also a lot of panic in the world. And Ray Dalio is telling you the bond market is bust. Basically, there are some problems, some alarm bells that went off yesterday and the day before, but there is a thing called a supply-demand imbalance, and it puts the Fed in a bind. They are the people trying to sell bonds so they can raise money to debase the currency, to pay the bills. And as you know, I say, if the government invests $4, they get $1 back. It's the worst capital allocator on the planet. But the problem we have now is there's no demand for these bonds, okay? Nobody is coming to buy the bonds. Nobody is going to their party. And interest rates have to rise to sweeten the deal. The coupon on the bonds needs to go up for people to even consider that crappy fiat stuff. And when these interest rates rise, it kills the market, it kills growth, it kills the ability to borrow money, and the economy just goes in the toilet. Confidence is lost. And then the government, this is the funny part, the government has to print their own money to buy their own bonds. I have a really bad analogy, which I will not repeat on the internet, but imagine printing your own money to buy your own crap. It's bonkers. Anyway, this in turn results in more inflationary pressures, which they tried to kill in the first place. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But there's more. Let's look at Japan. This is a nice little pretty chart here. The Japan 40-year bond yield, again, is going vertical, just like the Bitcoin price. There's actually a correlation between the Japan bond yield and Bitcoin that goes up. This is a big problem. But it's not just a problem for Japan. It's a problem all over the world. This is Germany in black, US in pink, UK in blue, and shout out to the Spurs fans, and Japan in yellow. Again, even though the Japan yield is the one of the lowest here on the chart, it's extremely high as far as Japan goes. And UK is screaming ahead towards 6%. This is bad, really, really bad out there, everybody. Really bad. And getting worse because nobody wants fiat. The gig is up, everybody. You know, we're talking about Bitcoin for the longest time, going on 8 years. And all of a sudden, this is the moment we're waiting for, where fiat starts spiraling. The debt crisis, the debt go boom type of thing. That's exactly what's going on. Also, US 30-year is deep over 5%. Not good, 5.149%. Yesterday was 5.08%, and people were freaking out. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And Walter Bloomberg, this is the 30-year Treasury yield tops 5% again amid global bond sell-off. Everybody is ditching bonds. And guess where they're going? Well, part of the money is going into Bitcoin for sure. And this is only the second time since 2007 that the 30-year yields have topped 5%. Craziness. Okay. And nobody's turning up to the party, despite the fact they're offering very high yields. Now, this is a funnier story from Peter Maluk, which is interesting. Shout out to Sanjay as well. This is the average number of years, I'll cover my camera, to double your money with bonds. Okay. People have seen us triple our money in 2 or 3 days in the last couple of weeks. Like not once, but multiple times. It's bonkers how good these markets are. And it's all driven by this chaos. But imagine having to wait 21.8 years to double your money with a bond. All right. 21.8 years. That is just cruel and unusual punishment. Okay. Of course, it takes 7 years with the S&P 500, et cetera, et cetera. But this story gets a lot worse, everybody. I just want to share the ugly side of this story. Okay. Shout out to CERN Basher as well. CERN is getting into all this delicious macro stuff, not just Tesla, but now is obsessed with MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. But this is since 1928, stocks have doubled in value every 7.2 years. Okay. And if you find the volatility of stocks too much to bear, you can double your money every 16 years with bonds. And if that's too scary for you, you can double your money every 21.8 years investing in T-bills. But the problem here is, all right, this is the stuff that you don't see. If you look at the impact of debasement or inflation, all right, and you have a 3-month treasury cash bill, it won't take you 21.8 years to double your money. It'll take you 324.3 years. That's approximately 4 or 5 lifetimes for the average person. Again, bonds are stupid. The world is waking up to how stupid they are. I've never owned a bond. I've been preaching that they are stupid for decades. And here we are. Now, everybody's beginning to realize it. And remember, the room at the party, at the Bitcoin party, is so small. It's a $2 trillion asset. There's $310 trillion worth of these things. And now nobody wants them. How is that $310 trillion going to squeeze into the little $2 trillion bucket? That's the fun part. If you take nothing away from this video, just take that away. Future's bright. Now, consumers also are feeling the pain. This is just American consumers. I don't know. I'm sure it's pretty much the same in Europe, maybe worse. I know it's definitely worse in Canada, and I know our friends in Australia are also very anxious. But U.S. consumer expectations about their financial situation over the next year tanked to a brand new all-time low in May, according to the University of Michigan survey. Okay, expectations are the lowest ever, and they've been measuring this since the late 70s. Okay, and that's when inflation was 13%, and interest rates were like 19% or something. Anyway, consumers are worried. Consumers have crazy debt. Consumers are not able to pay their credit cards. They're worried about losing their homes. They're worried about their cars being repossessed. This is really, really bad. Anyway, I'm hoping it's just an anomaly in the data, but probably not. However, with all this chaos going on in the world, it sounds like a McDonald's commercial. Bitcoin is loving it. Okay, we had nearly $250 million in liquidations in the last 24 hours because Bitcoin got everybody offside and by surprise and shot up. While the legends like James Wynn have literally billions riding on a 40x perp, and they know which way this is going. Their timeline is a little more aggressive than mine. I had a 2-hour spaces with James Wynn and Marty the other day. It was fantastic to be there. But anyway, moving on. Bitcoin loves this action. And speaking of Bitcoin action, Michael Saylor from Strategy is up $24 billion on his Bitcoin trade. $24 billion. When I first entered MicroStrategy in 2020, the market cap was $1 billion. All right. They've made 24 times their market cap on Bitcoin gains, and we're still early, which is fascinating. And Saylor and Strategy are doing another $2.1 billion. Charles Kim, thank you so much. $2.1 billion. That's made like billions sound like nothing these days. It's crazy. But, 2.1 billion, rough back of the napkin math. What is that? 21,000 Bitcoin approximately, give or take, depending on the price. But they will be buying another 21,000 Bitcoin with this $2.1 billion STRF Strife ATM. I've talked a lot about that. You get 10% yield on this thing. And Sylvain, merci. This is just, again, more. Michael Saylor, I've been watching his trading as well. The last all week, he has been absolutely ATMing the heck out of MicroStrategy stock. I know it upsets people, but remember, we're in this for the end game. Every week, every month, you hold on to your MicroStrategy shares. You get more sats per share. That's what he's doing. Okay, he's selling the stock at a premium and buying Bitcoin and making billions for all of us. It's gorgeous. And that's the story so far. Now, other crazy stuff happening in the market as well. IBIT options are going crazy today. Just check out, I'm going to move my little screen to the top left. Check out the volume on some of these puppies. I mean, 20,000 contracts of the 60s. Somebody bought 23,000 contracts of the 70s. Remember, IBIT's at 62 right now. So 62 to 70 is what, 18, 20%. They expect a 20% gain in Bitcoin in 25 days. That's less than 20 trading days. Crazy. The bullish action we're seeing here on IBIT BlackRock ETF options are insane. Absolutely. People are YOLOing into this stuff like there's no tomorrow. Errol and Piper, you are so nice. Thank you so much. But again, we look forward to playing these IBIT options ourselves when it comes to hedging the other side of the trade. And let's talk a bit about where Bitcoin is going in the future. Shout out to Sanjay as well, who got this to me. It was a cool little table as to the history of the Bitcoin rolls and the future rolls, which I want you to all to consider. And, the timelines here could be off, plus or minus, but it's fascinating to see. One, for the people who are in early to Bitcoin, 2010 to 2025, it was considered a niche, volatile, speculative asset. Only those fearless legends like you here in the audience jumped in that realm. And you were early, so congratulations. The new role is what's called digital gold. And again, it's only a matter of time before the gold bugs hang up their gloves and start YOLOing into Bitcoin. Again, it's a very small room in that little party. $2 trillion market cap to fit 22 trillion of gold market cap and 310 trillion of debt market cap. I don't know how we're going to have room for everybody until the price really will have to go up an awful lot. Then 2035 to 2045, settlement layer, sovereigns, banks, etc. Bitcoin for FX reserves. I would argue this one is very wrong because sovereigns and some central banks are already using Bitcoin as a reserve asset. And then 2045 could be way off into the future, but Bitcoin's used for pricing, for trade, for wages, for taxes. Again, that's already been happening for years. I know energy has been traded in Bitcoin somewhere, commodities. I know people are getting paid in Bitcoin. There are many big football players, not the soccer players, but American football players and basketball players and baseball players that are getting paid in Bitcoin. And yeah, some of them went through a bit of a rough spot in the bear market, but now they're sitting pretty. American Beijing, good to see you, buddy. Hope all is well. Now, I'm going to finish a little bit of a short one. This was really just highlighting how I shouldn't be sad, because if the bond market does really continue to collapse the way it is, it's going to be bad for the world. But those with life rafts will become very buoyant, should I say. And this is my meme du jour from last night. The enjoyers of the Bitcoin price, raise your hand if you like it. It's been quite the run, everybody. And what I have noticed as well is Bitcoin goes up in $9,000 increments over the last 42 days. 9K, 9K, 9K. Pretty much every 7 to 10 days, it's going up by $9,500, which tells me constant stacking, algo stacking, sovereign stacking, institutional stacking is happening. Okay, it's wonderful. Indigo Hammer up there in Canada. Your first super. Thank you so much. And Again, American Beijing, Sean Donnelly, thank you all for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hit the like if you did. That was Bondpocalypse. Bondpocalypse. I can't even say it. And thank you all for coming. Again, it's been a very exciting time in Bitcoin. I'm glad you all stuck through the bear market of March 2025. It was a great time to stack things. Thanks all for coming. Have a good night, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.